all here tonight, and when I tell people that I've created this show that's all about the comedy of the Bible, and we're having fun with the Bible and fun with God, and people might give me an incredulous brow, I say, but lightning hasn't struck us yet. So tonight, we'll hope for the best. I remember preparing to go to high school, quite pissed that my parents wouldn't let me go to Phillips Andover, where my considerable sophistication would be sure and blossom, and I could learn how to fence. My parents said I had to stay in Des Moines and go to the local high school down the street, where I was certain to shrivel up and disappear like a cauterized mole. Then I met the Higgins boys. They were big, puffy, half Italian, half Irish weirdos who at first and second glances scared and sort of repulsed me with their tattered, slovenly clothing and their silent, sullen faces. There were 4 Higgins boys, 1 my age and 3 younger, all big and puffy and glum. There were peers I was less interested in associating with, especially as I was still pissed about not getting to go to a fancy prep school. Then I was cast in a play with a couple of them, and they opened up Oz for me. First, it was joining them on Saturday mornings to shoot 8mm Scottish clan war films at a local park. Then it was driving around Des Moines in their beat-up old Plymouth, humming the 1812 overture and gunning the accelerator every time the cannon's supposed to go off. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, woom! Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, woom! And then it was going to their messy house, strewn with books. I never met anybody as smart and well-read as even the youngest Higgins boy. And they would help me do things like special credit projects for English. Like I remember once they helped me create a diorama of crime and punishment using my Barbie dolls and accessories. The Higgins boys' penchant for odd and imaginative hilariousness was endless and deep and profoundly life-giving. So don't judge a book by its cover. Which brings us to this. Big and puffy and glum. Scary and, let's face it, a little bit repulsive. About how sinful we are and how violent and angry God is. And it's just no fun. I mean, if you're looking for a book to give you a good time, the last place you're going to find it is the good book. And in fact, this is one of the reasons I left the church when I left high school to go to college. But then, out of the blue, I got this crazy call to ministry several years later. And as I was preparing to go to seminary, I thought I better read this thing from cover to cover. I don't know, I probably just should. And if Jesus could suffer on the cross, I could probably suffer through the Bible. And then I met Doug Adams. Now, this is not the Doug Adams of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe fame, although it's no small coincidence they share the same name. No, my Doug Adams was a professor of theology at the Pacific School of Religion, and when he opened this up, he opened up Oz to me. First, it was in showing me how entertaining so many of these stories truly are, if we do a close reading. For example, the story of Samson. Now, if you are at all familiar with the Bible, you probably know the story of Samson. He was the big, strapping Israelite hero who had this long mane that was the super secret to his supernatural success. He falls in love with the vixeny Delilah, and she's one of the enemy Philistines. And he dooms himself when he finds himself revealing the secret of his strength to her. And we may ask ourselves, why was this? Why did Samson do this? Is it because she seduced him? Because she cajoled him? Because she unintentionally fell deeply in love with him and he with her, and so they ended up sharing everything about one another's lives, which you always do when you fall deeply and unintentionally in love with one another, especially when you're on other sides of the fence. This is always the tragic way that Samson and Delilah told us and taught us. But If we look at Judges 6:16, this is the real reason that Samson gave in. Finally, after she had nagged him with her words day after day and pestered him, he was tired to death. So he told her his whole secret. It's right here in the good book, folks. I can just imagine it now. Hey, come on, hey! Quit picking at your split ends and tell me it straight. You're sitting around there like a bump on a log, don't getting hair all over the tent. What do you think this is, a pigsty? That's right, that's what I'm calling it, a pigsty. I'm going to keep calling it a pigsty until you tell me the truth. And quit using it, and start using a coaster. That would play in gold lame. Yes, there is so much fun in the Bible. And you know, it's interesting, if we let ourselves see that story from a funny perspective, it also tells us one of the through lines of the Bible, which is that power in relationships often makes itself manifest in the most unexpected places and unexpected ways. And the second thing that Dr. Adams showed me or taught me was that we don't have to take these stories literally. They're not newspaper accounts of what actually happened, as much as we may wish that the previous story is exactly as it says. No, in the ancient world, fantasy and history were equally valid and equally true, and the ancients blended them together to explore and explain things. I like to say that the Bible is best read like we like to watch movies. And my personal favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life. And every time I watch it, I learn something new about who I am, what life's all about. I am transformed. But I don't for 1 second need to have George Bailey ever existed or the things that he goes through ever to have actually happened. In fact, I say the Bible is best experienced with a bowl of popcorn nearby. Now, the third thing that Dr. Adams taught me was that the Bible is a comedy. That this Bible is one big, great comedic document. Even as Aristotle might suggest, filled with all sorts of low characters, shepherds and slaves and peasants and secondborns and women and outsiders and buffoons and fools. And they get in all sorts of scrapes because of their powerlessness or their foolishness or both. And even in the moment that they look like they're going to be totally done in, they somehow slip through the cracks, land in our feet, and oftentimes in a better position than before. Who can explain it? Suddenly help comes from the strangest place. Sometimes they come up for the first time with the right answer. Sometimes they put on funny disguises and slip away. And sometimes their hair grows back. Maybe it makes no difference that the Bible is a comedy. Or maybe it does. Comedy teaches us that life is crazy and chaotic and oftentimes makes no sense, and there really is no reason we should still be here. But we are. And we keep getting second chances. And knowing that helps rise the bar, it helps rise our spirits, and gives us what we need to truly do and try better next time. And wouldn't that be great if that's what the ancients wanted us to understand about this power we can't see, smell, taste, touch, but sense is real, sense is here? Let's sidle up to the popcorn and continue checking that idea out.